Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to this third episode about NGI LEDGER. Third episode about the third open call of NGI LEDGER, which is the human-centric venture builder program funded by the European Commission under Horizon 2020. Today, we have a treat for you because we have testimonies from the first two rounds of LEDGER, so stay tuned and you will find out more. Just to let you know, this webinar is recorded and will be posted on the NGI YouTube channel for a maximum of 5 years. You are free to leave the webinar whenever you like. As in the previous webinars, we invite you to interact with us using the dedicated question box on the right of your screen. Here you can ask all your questions and we will try and address most of them in the Q&A session at the end of this webinar. I'd like to present the speakers. There is Thomas Wilczek from Funding Box. Hello, Thomas.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Thomas. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. We have Andrea Dintino from Dine.org.
Good morning, everybody. I couldn't find my unmute button. Andrea from Dine here.
Nice to have you. And then we have me, of course, Thomas Shamyalida from Blue Water. Now, this time, it isn't just the three usual speakers that you know, but we also have special guests. So I'd like to introduce to you VIPs from round two. There's Maria Terranini and Farah Kapin from the Global Passport Project. Hello.
Good morning, everyone. Hi.
Thank you for joining us today. We're really happy to have you here.
Thank you for having us. Pleasure to be here.
And we have Tukta Uleleti from Misensei, who was part of the Unified Science team in the first round of LEDGER. Hello, Tukta, and welcome back.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
We're happy to have you here with us too, and I guess we'll get this webinar started. Let's roll. So, about LEDGER, LEDGER is run by the consortium, the members that you saw earlier on. So if you'd like, we'd like to have Thomas from Funding Box to tell us a little bit more about Funding Box.
Who is Funding Box? Well, yeah, we are a European non-profit organization with a team of 80 professionals now who operate out of 4 hubs, Poland, Denmark, Spain, and the Czech Republic. We are the LEDGER project coordinator, of course, supported by our expert consortium partners, Dine and Blue Water, who will introduce themselves in a moment. So Funding Box, just very quickly, our offering is twofold. On the one hand, we are now one of the largest European deep ecotech systems, which is based on our funding platform for entrepreneurs, of now over 30,000 members on the platform. And in that ecosystem, any entrepreneur, startup, or SME can find funding opportunities, know-how, tech connections, peers, and tools to help them on their journey. The platform hosts a large amount of dedicated online communities around deep tech topics like blockchain, artificial intelligence, robotics, IoT, digital innovation hubs, etc. LEDGER has, of course, a community, an online community on the platform, and I invite you to join the community if you haven't done so yet. I will post a link to it in a moment here in the chat. And yeah, there you can find out more about the open call, interact with us and with your peers. A part of that ecosystem built around the Funding Box platform, we participate in an important number of Horizon 2020 projects like LEDGER in different activities. We have a large experience in FSDP management, cascade funding, and we have our own open call platform tool that you will be using when you apply to our third open call, which we are presenting today together with the testimonies of the teams. And then as a second offering, Funding Box has also works with Investors Incorporates and we help them to identify and integrate innovative startups and SMEs. And we do that by scouting, screening, and matchmaking services. So sort of we are working on both ends. Yeah, that's Funding Box. I hand over to the next consortium partner,
which is Dyn.org.
Hello, everybody. Can you see me?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So Dyn.org has existed for 20 years as a community and 15 in the current legal form, which is a non-profit foundation headquartered in Amsterdam. We are about 15 people. Out of 15, I think that 13 are developers. And we have been working mostly in the fields of cryptography and blockchain for the past 10 years. So in what we're doing in Ledger is that we are the technical mentors of the program, meaning that we follow up weekly with teams. We organize activities and webinars. In the first round, obviously, we had a lot of in-person meetings, while the last year and this year so far it has not been possible. But we have activities and meetings with the teams. We help them to go to accelerate the developer process, and we help the teams to connect together and collaborate whenever there is a chance. Next, please.
Next, please, is Bluemorpho in that case. So a few words about Bluemorpho. At Bluemorpho, we deliver disruption in products and business models going from ideation to additional revenue streams. As deep tech experts, we act as a corporate third-party partner, activating open innovation ecosystems to deliver value. Through ecosystem designing, we work with large corporations, private investors, research organizations, startups, SMEs, and institutions to achieve disruptive innovation. Just recently, we activated one of these ecosystems to create an event in which we placed funding platforms at center stage to the benefit of SMEs across Europe and across the sector. This is something that would concern companies involved in Ledger, as some of them were even invited to attend the event to, of course, take advantage of the opportunities that were there for all the companies that were present. In Ledger, Bluemorpho will provide business mentoring, and we bring our network plus our experience conducting specific actions in decentralized technologies, our experience in Ledger, and of course our networks to your advantage. About that network, actually, it is a network of more than 70,000 contacts of all sizes and across 24 business verticals, and you can count on our experience, our expertise, and how we activate our network to your advantage within this process. I'm hearing notifications from somewhere. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but if we could stop, that would be great. That is Bluemorpho, and we're going to go on to what is Ledger. So tell us, Thomas, what is Ledger?
Yeah, Ledger, generally speaking, is an EU-funded project that supports human-centered research and innovation projects to develop minimal viable products and services, which aim to create new models that preserve citizens' control over their data. I've presented this several times. By that we mean models where data is indeed a common good that is owned by citizens, where any wealth that is created by services and platforms with our data, with the citizens' data, is then equally distributed and does not enrich only a few big tech giants as it happens now and is every day in the press. We are looking to support projects that have core values like privacy by design, decentralized data governance, trustworthiness, reliability, openness. So one could say that we are doing something fairly new here, something different, different to the established Silicon Valley model, although of course we are using aspects of it when we are running the program. But yeah, our core values are different. As the name indicates, we are the venture builder for human-centric solutions. So the core idea is that we are trying to build a new internet where the citizen, the human being, is at the center. I say this in every webinar. Please see yourself as pioneers and as part of something bigger. In fact, Ledger is part of the European Commission's NGI initiative. As you can see here, NGI stands for Next Generation Internet. And if you haven't checked it out, again, like with the community, I will post the link in the chat in a moment. Please check out the website of the Next Generation Internet Initiative. It is really important for your applications that you know what this is about and what this is aligned with. At the moment, this third open call that we are announcing, you can achieve 150K equity free. We are looking for 9 projects, and the open call ends on the 22nd of February, but we will explain this a bit more in detail later, although the main focus today is on the testimonies of the first and second cohort teams that you have just been presented to. Thank you.
Thank you. Here's just a diagram of the, it says 12-month venture builder program. It's actually a 6-month venture builder program. Would you like to give us a bit more information about that?
Yeah, just very quickly. I mean, there are previous webinars where we have explained this more in detail that you can find on the NGI YouTube channel. But in general, just quickly to explain, this third open call is an advanced one, a reduced one. We have only 6 months to run the program, so we have compressed the program. And you can see here the different milestones. This is all on, as the previous rounds as well, under the modality of FSTP, so cascade funding, which means that you will have to, at the beginning of the project, to create an action plan and to line out certain KPIs, and then you have to hit those different milestones, deliverables, and will then get the different installments if you have delivered what you have planned and what was asked to you to deliver. Yeah, and here you see the different stages, and yeah, if you need more information, there's plenty of detail in the guide for applicants, which you can find on the website, and the landing page, which I will also post here in the chat in a minute. We have a frequently asked question document where you can find also a lot more detail, and again, previous recordings of webinars that we have done. So all the information there, and I'm sure Thomas will in a moment also explain or provide you with the help desk email. So if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch. We are happy to help you.
Indeed, all contact details will be given at the end of this webinar. Thank you for that. Now let's go into what's really more interesting about today's webinar. We have our 2 first guest speakers from the Global Passport Project, Maria and Lara, who are going to tell us a bit more about their project. So take it away, on to you.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and share our experience with Ledger. We are here representing Global Passport Project, which has been selected for the 2nd round of NGI LEDGER. GPP is a blockchain-based platform that migrants can use to store their documents like ID, passports, family documents, health documentation, etc., in order to keep them in a safe space during their very dangerous journeys. In addition, GPP facilitates, through an interactive map, the contact between migrants and NGOs providing support services, ranging from shelter to legal assistance. Next slide, please. GPT is managed by the Italian NGO Cosmopolis, which is specialized in integration policies for migrants. Our ideas comes then from our direct experience in the domain of migration and response to everyday problems faced by both migrants and NGOs assisting them. We knew that our idea had the potential, but we needed support to develop it, starting from the technical component, which is the core part of our project. This is why we applied for Ledger in the very first place. Next slide, please. Our IT team has immensely benefited from Ledger support, particularly Dines. The potential of applying blockchain technology in the domain of migration is huge, because blockchain guarantees a high level of privacy and data sovereignty. At the same time, also due to the extreme sensitivity of the topic, it is crucial to be able to choose the right, most suitable technology option. Dine has given us regular dedicated technical guidance in this sense and has also organized various webinars to increase the knowledge of the participants about new development technologies and better explore the options available to further progress with the project. Next, please. The IT team is particularly enthusiastic about the chance of deepening their knowledge about distributed ledger technology. In these early months, the expertise of Dine mentors has been crucial, especially in directing the team toward choosing the right technologies to be employed in the development of our minimum viable product and supporting us to explore and use Dine's valuable technologies such as Zenroom and Restroom, helping us navigate the waters of distributed technologies and considerably enhance our work as a team. I pass to Clara now.
Hi. We also appreciated the support we have received so far to better structure our project and make it stronger. A good idea is not enough, and to be knowledgeable and experienced in your field is not enough. If you want to succeed in launching your project and make it sustainable, you really have to kind of learn a new way of thinking, working, and even looking at your own idea. You can move to the next slide, thanks. Working on a project in the middle of a pandemic is not easy at all, and we regret not to have the opportunity to meet in person with the broad Ledger crew, and not even with our fellow participants of the second round. Nevertheless, we have been really appreciative of the whole program and especially of the efforts done by Ledger to help us along this bumpy and winding road. We strongly encourage you to apply to the third round of Ledger. Just be open to change your mind, readjust your methodology, and don't be afraid to explore a different path from what you have originally planned. The issues to take into consideration are numerous and complex. Pay attention to any suggestion and comments, even the smallest ones you will hear, and have your IT team and your operational team talk to each other on a regular basis to make sure that everyone is on the same page. So, and never hesitate to share your thoughts and questions, most importantly, with the Ledger team. This is what we learned. If you struggle with some problems, it does not mean that you're not performing well, but on the contrary, that you're on the right track. And I'm sure that the Ledger team will definitely be there to help you and provide you with a range of possible recommendations and solutions to help you move forward. So apply to the third round of Ledger, embark on this very challenging, as Thomas said before, pioneering journey, and good luck.
And good luck. Thank you for these words. They're really encouraging. I'm going to pass on the microphone to Andrea, who is going to tell us a bit more about human-centric.
Hello, can you see me again? Yes. What does human-centric mean? We read here, new ideas that meet social need, create social relationships, and form new collaboration. I think that the easiest way to describe human-centric is to give you a list of the applications that have been developed during Ledger. I will not list them all, but we have had several teams working with applications that deal with academic publications. And actually, one of the people working on them is here with us today. We have had several applications covering data privacy, so communication between doctors and medical facilities with the patients. We have had several applications dealing with privacy and cryptography at a personal level. We right now, yeah, you heard about Global Passport Project. That is probably the most human-centric thing you can think of, because they build an application to help migrants. What human-centric is not is, for example, applications to trade cryptocurrency. Well, that's probably the least human-centric. We haven't had anybody doing anything with finance, although finance, if done properly, can be a part of human-centric. Anyway, human-centric means everything that is developed around real people and not around corporations or business-oriented activities, let's say. Next.
What about the verticals in Ledger?
Say it again.
I said, what about the verticals in Ledger?
Ah, yes. So you are welcome to apply if you work in one of the 6 verticals. I mentioned some applications before. Health, so the 6 verticals, you can see them here. I'm going to list them: health, economy, mobility, public services, energy and sustainability, open innovation. Just to give you an idea of what has been done before, we have had, right now, we have a team dealing with a patient-doctor communication. I believe that we had one before in the past round. Yeah, we had actually 2 in the first round of Ledger. Now we have a 3rd one. When it comes to economy, we have had several teams, 2 in the first one, and 1 in the second one, dealing with complementary currency. What is a complementary currency? It is a currency that you are using if you provide a service or if you do something for the community. We had a very interesting startup from Greece in the first round that performed very well, who built a complementary currency for people that were providing help to group of volunteers helping during the financial crisis in Greece in the past few years. So that is a very viable application. Or we had another team that worked for to develop a local complementary currency, so that people would get coupons and discounts if they were buying from local shops instead of buying on the large distribution networks. Mobility, we haven't had much about mobility, but mobility could mean ride sharing, car sharing, or other forms of thinking of mobility that is green and sustainable. Public services, we had a lot of those in both the rounds. We have, for example, right now, a team building an application to manage the grades and the activities of schools, of public schools, storing some data on a blockchain. We have another team that is working on notarization for inheritance. So for people that pass away, the whole process, instead of being a lot of paperwork, it becomes digitally notarized. Yeah. So public services means offering a service that right now is provided by a public offering or public service or a public office, moving from paperwork to digital, or if it's already digitalized, moving it to a more lean workflow using blockchain and advanced cryptography. Energy and sustainability, we had in the first round a team that worked with smart meters. So the electricity meters you have, some of you have at home already, with smart meters in the situation that a private citizen or a small community was producing electricity using renewable sources, for example, solar panels, and the electricity produced in excess was to be put back on the network and sold. So they developed an application to manage the sales of electricity automatically based on smart contracts and on blockchain. Open innovation, well, that's very generic and very open. If you would like to have a look at what it means, you just browse through the teams that worked in the first round and are now working the second round, so you can have an idea. And I think that I am through the verticals.
You are definitely through the verticals. And now that that's done, we're going to move on to our final speaker from the first round of Ledger. So it means that it's been more than a year since we've seen him. And it's interesting to find out what's happened a year on. So I'd like to bring to the floor Tuukka, who is going to tell us a bit more about Unified Science and MiSensei and what's been happening since. On to you.
Thank you, Thomas. Happy to be here. So thank you for the introduction. Indeed, quite right. We started in the program in 2019. And answer to your question, what has happened since has been COVID happened, which changed a lot of things for us in relation to what is the rollout of the service and which direction to take the strategy to. But in 2019, before the COVID, we were creating a concept for an academic collaboration platform, which would empower researchers to boost their impact and get rewarded for contributions and control their privacy. So one of the original sort of challenges we were thinking was related to a lot of the voluntary work that the academics do in order to get their papers published and do all sorts of the things that are related to promoting their career. One is to set up different types of conferences and seminars, and we were thinking that could they be incentivized by a certain type of a local economy. Next slide, please. And would that be sort of a right frame to think about the new types of digital currencies? So in 2019, a lot of the hype around blockchain technologies were heavily focused on asset speculation and this type of trading and cryptocurrencies. We worked together with Aalto University researchers on platform economics, and one of the interesting variant of that theme was to think about local economies, the idea that can these crypto currencies be transformed into types of ways to create incentivization systems that are mimicking the financial transactions but are inherently slightly different and more focused on incentivizing voluntary work. It's really hard concept to get on a few minutes, but that was the reason why we joined the Ledger, that we wanted to explore this and what that could be in practice. And indeed, that was the path that we took it. Then obviously the COVID came and conferences were no longer happening. So a lot of the things and the mechanisms related to the incentivizations and types of activities we wanted to incentivize were just sort of put on hold. So, but we during the program, we managed to do the essentials. We were able to explore multiple different blockchain technologies, and not just blockchain, but also holochain, Tangle, and a few others. And we got to create our first prototype based on the stack that Dyn had created. These technologies would have been beyond our reach. It was easy for us to integrate our technology to existing blockchain technologies and explore what the concepts could be. And the main thing we found out is that it's tremendously difficult to think what goes into the blockchain. It's quite trivial then to have the blockchain. But we explored with two currencies, sticks and carrots, and realized that we need to do a lot of research, a lot more field exploration to understand that how these dynamics in local economies could actually work. Next slide, please. And for us, this was a perfect program. First of all, it also sustained us because of its funding through the very, very hard days of the COVID. We were just about to ramp up our business and we were getting in the first revenue. And when conferences and all that came to an end because of the COVID, essentially the money we got from the Ledger was the one that sustained us and kept us going. So it saved us in many regards. But beyond the money, I think the most important bit was that you get out from this program what you put in. That we noticed that some teams were very focused on doing their own business, what they had, instead of using the money they got from the program to work on advanced, difficult concepts. And there is nobody in this program to drive the things for you. It's the founders who are on the driver's seat, and getting things done is up to the founders who participate. We use this very effectively because of the prestige. We were able to approach universities to say that, hey, we are part of the 16 pioneering teams working on the next generation internet, and we want to talk with you about these advanced concepts. And doors were just flung open. We got very high profile contacts and customers because we were able to have a great story with why we are approaching them. And some of those actually converted into customerships beyond of just this acceleration program. And for the novices who have never been in this kind of a program, this also puts certain type of a pressure and friction and forces you to perform under pressure. And it's a good test for team resiliency. I'm not sure if you are able to do boot camps. We were doing live boot camps and they were high intensity, high pressure events. And it was clearly to see that sort of teams that have worked together before can sustain the pressure, whereas the teams who had not formed yet, they sort of started to have friction among themselves to perform. And that's a great test to see that how will the team sustain itself in the growth period later on. And for veterans who have been these type of programs, no matter how many accelerations you have done or how many times you have been in these kind of programs, it's still the sort of always a question that is it worth the time and the effort to put into this? And my answer is resounding yes, absolutely. It's super good to have this context, this community, because it is advanced stuff. The concepts, the technologies that the other teams are working on, that's remarkable. We got so much insight from the guys from Dyn on blockchain technology. We were able to explore that technology and find out its boundaries and opportunities and do things on practice that we wouldn't be able to do just by ourselves. And also work with other teams. For example, we created a consortium in collaboration with Aalto University, University of Milan, and Merits, another team from our cohort, and went on to win a €1 million prize from European Information Council. Again, something that would not have come to be unless we had been in this community working with other teams and finding out that how do these bits that we work fit with what the other teams are doing and how can we be much more together compared to what we are alone. So definitely fantastic, fabulous upsides for taking a part, and I can personally highly recommend it. Thank you.
Thank you for this testimony. And indeed, what you say about friction is very right. And since this third call is going to be a 6-month program, for those that apply and that do get selected, you can expect that everything is going to be, well, there'll be more friction and there'll be a lot more expected of you because we do have less time, but it doesn't mean it's going to be less exciting. It just means that it's going to be more intense, and we like intense. Thank you again for this testimony to you, Tuukka, and to Maria and Farah from before. Let's quickly move on to the application process for this third and final open call. And here's just a brief diagram of the application process. The call is from the 22nd of December from last year to the 22nd of February of this year. Sorry, not 2020, but 2021. That is soon. That is in less than 3 weeks. And your applications must be presented to www.ledgerprojects.eu. You can see on the left a brief diagram of the process again, that it goes to an application platform, it goes under review and evaluation by independent experts, and then there is a jury day. There is more information available on that process in the references that we will give bit later during this webinar. And then when it comes to the actual jury day, those the best marks will be invited to an online jury day, and they will be asked to submit a video pitch prior to the jury day. Regarding who can apply, maybe Thomas, you wanna speak?
Yes, thank you, Thomas. Yeah, first of all, again, also from my side, thank you for the Global Passport Project team and for TUCA, yeah, for your participation and for this, for your kind words. Yeah, I just wanted to thank you again because it has been very nice and very interesting to hear, also from our side, of course. So yeah, who can apply to the third open call? As I previously mentioned, this third open call is an advanced one, meaning it is compressed into 6 months, and we are trying to sort of start at a higher level. Therefore, in difference to previous rounds, the what is required, the requirements for applications are a little bit higher. As you can see here, we are looking for legal entities that are registered at least 8 months before the deadline of the open call itself. The reason is that we want to hit the ground running, and we need people that are a bit more business savvy, and we are looking for teams that is very similar to the previous years, of a core team of 3 profiles, which is a researcher, a developer, or business development person and entrepreneur. Of course, all teams have to be established in EU member states or associated countries. There is a link in the guide for applicants, and in general, guide for applicants, frequently asked questions, documents on the website are your place to go to find more information and to get you prepared. And then again, as I said before, the help desk and our community, you have a lot of different places where you can get information and ask any questions that you needed. Gender balanced teams are highly recommended. That's of course, we are very keen on gender balanced teams, even more so women-led teams, as in the tech space we know that they are still underrepresented. So yeah, next slide, please. Okay, yeah, just very quickly. So here you can see the projects have to be based on research components and consist of development, test, and validation of technical economic viability of minimal viable products, as we already mentioned before. Again, we're looking for a higher level also on the technical side. So your project has to have an existing and impactful software product or prototype, ideally TRL 6 or 7, 5 to 7, I would say. And yeah, that you want to either extend or build something upon. And your application also, as I said before, should be aligned with the overall NGI vision. So please visit the NGI website and read all the documentation. And the results of this bottom-up project should be compliant with open licenses, open source, which also aligns with what I said before in terms of citizens getting back the control over the data. Next. And I think we can now go to the Q&A webinar. I went a bit quick here, as mentioned before. In the previous webinars, we explained all this a bit more in detail, but we want to use today the time mainly for our guests that have presented their projects and their participation in the in Ledger, and now a quick Q&A, so you can actually have a little bit of time to ask them anything you want to know about Ledger.
Indeed, right now we are going to start the Q&A, but next week's webinar is also purely focused on frequently asked questions. So you may register and follow, and if you have any questions, send them through to the address, and we will be sure to address the most relevant questions that we can. About certain references, here is a link to the guide for applicants and FAQ. It has all the information that is necessary. I believe it's also available on the website as well, at least for me. Next is join the community. There's the official Ledger website, which is on the screen, ledgerprojects.eu. There's also a community for general questions and more that you can find on, whose link that you can find on the screen as well. It's the second one. And then for specific inquiries, you can contact social@ledgerprojects.eu. That's the address for all questions that you have, and we will do our best to reply to your questions. And then finally, we have a Twitter page whose handle is @ledgereu. So feel free to tweet and engage with us there as well. We are active. And now the most interesting part is the Q&A session. So I am going to stop the recording at this point, but the Q&A session will continue.